heading into an election year, Donald Trump is crafting his budget, and you would think, since he is going to be running for re-election, whatever he chooses to put in there is what he thinks will be a winning strategy. In particular, because the budget is unlikely to pass in the form he initially puts out. So it is, to some extent, mainly a symbol of his priorities, and I believe that we can learn a lot from this. So in this upcoming budget, he increases military spending by a small amount, 0.3%, up to $740.5 billion. Let's just pause for 1 second. We spend $740 billion for 1 year of our military. That is amazing.
How many school lunches is that? That's my question.
Like at least a dozen. At least a dozen.
At least a dozen. Who knows what a banana costs? $10? Yeah, that was something that really struck out to me. It also has been characterized as a cruel budget because Donald Trump is a cruel person. One thing that it's not funny because it is full of lies. It features like the $800 billion slashed from public benefits like Medicaid, Social Security. It also proposes slashing education while increasing the budget for NASA. And as I was thinking of all of this together, my first thought was, this is a budget that reflects a desire to entrench the current hierarchy. It reflects a desire to keep people who are poor, poor, to keep people who are rich, rich. And I was thinking, like, how are we giving all this money to NASA and slashing money to education? Where are we going to get all of our astronauts? And it's going to be from people who can afford education. It's about entrenching the way that things are currently and making it impossible for any class to move up.
Yeah, let's run through a couple of other significant cuts. So the EPA is going to be cut by 26%. Which is amazing. We're taking the climate crisis seriously here in America.
Yeah.
Foreign aid by 21%. The Department of Housing and Urban Development by 15%. And right in time for coronavirus season, the CDC is slated to lose 9% of its budget. And then importantly too, they're talking about $130 billion effectively in cuts to Medicare through changing prescription drug prices, $292 to cuts for things like work requirements for Medicaid and SNAP, $70 billion in cuts for involving federal disability benefits. So he's entering into this election season saying, no, your Social Security, your Medicare, your Medicaid, we're cutting those. We're cutting those to the bone, the EPA too. I mean, we gotta fund these tax cuts, a little bit more for the military. His priorities couldn't be clearer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I also noticed that there was a proposed cut in foreign aid and a bump, small bump, but a bump nonetheless in the budget of ICE. So we want to, I guess, promote conditions that would make people want to leave their countries and then prosecute them when they try to leave. That's another kind of cruel aspect of this whole thing. It is a puzzling budget, especially because it's like free PR. A president can put out basically a wish list and say they want, every house gets a fairy that cleans the bathroom every week. But but he didn't take that opportunity. He took the opportunity to tell us that what he wants is for rich people to stay rich, poor people to stay poor, people in other countries to stay in those countries, and us to cut off the aid that helps the people that live there. It's really egregious, but I think that the Democrats and people who are running against the president can take this as a kind of a gift. Because when they ran against proposed cuts to public programs in 2018, they won big. Yeah. And it seems like a pretty big mistake for Donald Trump to make in an election year.
I agree. It's a bold strategy. We'll see if it works out for him. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.